Or the other way is you can tell him to stop and attend a 90-day concentrated course for 500 hours of studying, and then he's got to buy 16 pieces of hardware, and he's got to memorize 24 seed key phrases, and then he's got to create 3 backups and 2 safe deposit boxes, and then you beat him half to death so that he can like put $1,000 in the network. But I guess my point here is I'm not against privacy, and Bitcoin is not non-private, right? I mean, there's a fair degree of privacy on the network. No one's publishing a list of the 100,000 people that have the most money in Bitcoin, right? Well, I haven't seen that list, right? Right. I mean, I haven't seen a list of the top 10, by the way. So, you know, there is a fair degree of privacy in Bitcoin right now. And if someone said, I like the virtue of privacy and I would like to not be outed, I don't disagree with them. I'm not in favor of like publishing a list of 50 million wallets along with the social security number and the address of the people, right? Like, what I'm saying is Bitcoin does what it does right now. And it's been successful because it does what it does. I don't think you need to fix it. Like, for example, I don't think that the lack of more privacy is an existential threat to Bitcoin. I don't think the network will be destroyed if you don't change it. I can embrace the idea, like, you know, with like Taproot and Schnorr and multi-sig and the like, I can embrace the fact that some upgrades will be good for it, right? And there are incremental upgrades for security, for privacy, for scalability, and those are good things. So I understand we should do good things in a very careful fashion. I don't have other comments on that. I believe that the fact that people have options is beneficial to the network, right? Let me say it a different way. Like, if you operate on Bitcoin and no one knows who you are ever and you're anonymous, well, that's a good thing. And the fact that there are you know, self-custody solutions where you never have to rely upon a KYC bank or, you know, or an exchange, or like, that's a good thing. That keeps everybody honest. But you know, railing against PayPal, which is a totally different thing. It's like, well, you can choose not to use PayPal because you don't like the constraints that PayPal puts on you. And I respect that. On the other hand, if PayPal brings 100 million more users on the network, you'll benefit, even if you're that privacy advocate that doesn't want to be in that system. You'll benefit from it. In fact, every single time another bank or another provider brings on another Bitcoin service or Bitcoin product, it strengthens the entire network for everybody. We all beneficiaries. I'm a beneficiary of what Binance is doing, even though I can't use Binance. And people that use PayPal to buy Bitcoin benefit from Binance. And hodlers that have their own hardware wallets that never use Binance, that never use PayPal, that, you know, that are disgusted at the anathema of KYC and disgusted at whatever anybody else might do, they benefit economically from the actions of other Bitcoin standard companies. And I wouldn't be so judgmental. Everybody's got their own circumstances, right? It's like there's an orthodoxy, but for the guy that's got PayPal installed that wants to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, telling them they can't do it in 5 seconds, and they have to, like, there's this thing with Bitcoiners, they talk about going down the rabbit hole. It's like, the guy wants to give you $1,000 and he's going to click once and put the 1,000 in the network. Okay, that's one way. Or the other way is you can tell him to stop and attend a 90-day concentrated course for 500 hours of studying, and then he's got to buy 16 pieces of hardware, and he's got to memorize 24 seed key phrases, And then he's got to create 3 backups and 2 safe deposit boxes. And then you beat him half to death so that he can like put $1,000 in the network. And the point is that, I mean, for the long-term maximalists and the hardcore Bitcoiners, it's a rite of passage and they love that. That's true. But I mean, why don't you just let the guy put the $1,000 on one click on the network and live his life? If it's going to double the price of, if it's going to double the value of your Bitcoin, do you really have to let the perfect be the enemy of the good? If Warren Buffett got up tomorrow morning and he just said, I want to buy $50 billion worth of Bitcoin, just get it done. Are you guys all going to lay down in front of a tank and say he's not allowed to? He hasn't gone down the rabbit hole. He hasn't earned the right. He needs to memorize 24 seeds and get his own hardware wallet. And he better like go and read a bunch of stuff first, because I would have talked to him about, you know, something or other. Or are you just going to take his money? Take the 50 billion and your Bitcoin's going to triple in value. And it's going to be as private as the precautions that you took to keep it private. And if Bitcoin is not private enough, maybe Taproot will make it better, or, you know, and if that's not good enough, then maybe you'll move some over to Zcash. And there's always the next thing you can go to, right? I mean, make your decision. Let other people make their decision. The guy that operates a regulated insurance company, they don't have the luxury of the debate over, like, you know, the private hardware wallet seed key. You know, it's like they don't have the luxury. By the way, be empathetic. There's a dude that goes to work that's surrounded by 27 other people, and they don't have the ability to like hold their own keys and do this and that and the other thing. They can put $1 billion on the network, though. They're allowed to do that. And so you have to decide, is Bitcoin inclusive to everybody? And by the way, if I'm in a country and they're going to draw and quarter me if I do it that way, and my choice is I can either give you all my money and not die, or I can take my money and I can try to do it with a DeFi dark network, stored hardware, asynchronous satellite uplink while on the run. And if they catch me, they're going to murder me and my family. It's like, you know, really, you got to shove your dogma down the guy's throat. Just take his money. He buys the thing. He doesn't have privacy. Maybe his government does whatever they're going to do. Maybe the person suffers. Maybe they don't suffer. What's the skin off your back? You benefited. The guy actually bought in the network. The network price of Bitcoin goes up. You're a beneficiary. So I think live and let live.
Right.
I can't have it's like the survivalist, you know, it's like some people want to buy a flashlight and batteries. Some people want, you know, their own cabin in the woods. Some people want their cabin in the woods with their own generator. Some people want the cabin in the woods with their own generator, and they're going to go ahead and become a doctor, and they're going to stockpile antibiotics against the time when, you know, and then you could always have a little rowing machine to generate your own electricity when the sun goes out. There are different degrees, you know, of buying into the vision. Let everybody decide what they can do, and make and keep in mind this one last point. Not everybody has a choice. Mm-hmm. You can convince me. I don't have the power to do it the hardcore way, right? Even if you convince me, I just can't do it, right? And that's the difference between, you know, being open and inclusive, you know, and being exclusionary. The market will make the decision. And I think that everybody should keep in mind in the crypto world, if PayPal doesn't give you the right to self-custody, that's an opportunity, right? They don't. You should be happy they don't, because now you can sell something that they're not selling. Right? At the point that PayPal embeds it in their product, it gets harder for Square. At the point that Apple embeds it into Apple Pay, it gets harder for PayPal, right? Right? This thing rolls downhill. And as long as there's someone that's not solving the problem, if Coinbase is not giving you the privacy you like, well, then that's an opportunity for the Zcash people. or the decentralized exchange, one way or the other. And if you're right in the world, in the marketplace, and in the world, then your idea will prosper and it will grow. And if you're wrong, it will linger and get snuffed out. And that's Darwinism. So it is what it is. The market will decide. Best idea wins. Maybe lots of ideas win. Maybe just a few ideas win. We will see.
Каждую ночь нового дня, глаза поднимая в темное небо, я становлюсь немым наблюдателем лунного света и отблеска звезд. Пустой зал, ожидание вокзала. Стою и смотрю куда-то в сторону перрона, и забыв уже, как все мне надоело, я вижу, как ты выходишь из